Yeah.
And, I just want an amazing life.
Yeah.
And I know if I just trust in God's plan, I don't have to worry about anything. If He has it destined for me to be the first Honduran World Champion, cool. But no matter what, I'm going to help that one person who wants to be the first Honduran World Champion, Doesn't matter if I become it or someone else becomes it. That person that becomes it, I'm going to help that person no matter what.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Esparza, coming to you with a brand new episode of the Grappling Hour. I hope you're having a great day. We are doing a simplified setup today because we had a guest come and train with us. We're very stoked to talk with him. Let's just do all the things you know to do first. First, check us out, patreon.com/grappling hour. See the interviews 30 days before anybody else, $5 a month. Or for our exclusive members on the premium side, you get to see extra bonus content not available anywhere else, including we do a segment where people roast my competition footage. It's y'all's favorite footage, not mine. We do also do like tape studies with the athletes and lots of fun stuff like that. So go check that out, patreon.com/grappling hour. You can also check us out on Spotify, sure. But if you're watching on YouTube, wherever you're watching, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It really does mean a lot. And friends, if you want to get some Grappling Hour merch, go on over to rapasparza.com/merch. And if you want to keep up with the conversations that we have here on the show, check us out on our Discord at Grappling Hour. All right. I cannot tell you how excited I was when our guest made his way into our lovely gym here at Milton Arguello's Mixed Martial Arts Academy. We have been playfully talking trash back and forth.
Yeah, 100%.
And I have been itching to train with him. We had promised an interview with one another, and my man lives far.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was going to come out of his way, bring your beautiful lady with you, and make your way on out, it really does mean a lot to me. And we do have a lot to cover today. But first and foremost, I want to say, Michael Martinez, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for rolling with our guys. It's so
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful to have you here, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So did you enjoy training? Was it worth the hype? Did I live up to what I was talking trash about?
100%. 100%. Yeah, we were talking some like no, just back and forth.
It's fun,
yeah,
but it's not like malicious. It was like, oh, your fight sucked, man. I'm gonna beat you. I was like, no, he's a good fighter. I think
it was more of like like that type of like beef or like that back and forth like a bro. Like, I'm gonna get you with this one, and then you're like, oh, I don't think so. I'm gonna, some stuff like that. And then when you did get me with stuff like the moves you did tell me you were gonna get me, I was like, yeah, you got me really good.
The worst part is there's a moment where you were similar to a lot of fighters, where if you threaten a move, it's different than if I'm trying to go for a move and let's say I catch it organically.
Yeah.
And you go like, oh man, you got an arm bar, bro, that was slick.
Yeah.
If you tell a fighter, I'm going to get this move on you, they then turn it on like they're fighting for a state title. And I go, oh no, he's 100%. Moving very quickly. I have to control him. And it has to be a very good back and forth. But you have been so fun to watch as somebody who commentates fights. And I feel like every time I saw you, it was always like, hey, bro, I can't wait for when you're fighting for a title. I can't wait for what's coming up next. And what is great to me is you have an incredibly upbeat personality.
Thank you.
You also have this clear vision of, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to get out there. You just watch. It's going to happen. And for me, I gravitate towards those people because it tells me they not only have purpose and they have direction, but it's like, damn, bro, I want to do better things in my life. Like, I want 100%. To go to that next level, and I want to challenge myself. And I think the best thing you can do in this sport at all times is say, like, I'm not afraid of a challenge. I want to hit it head on. So
yeah. 100%.
When I hear somebody talking that clearly and having a defined goal or two, I'm like, dude, I'm going to be cheering for you. So
yeah,
I feel like,
especially I have the way I talk, or the way I express myself like that. It's because growing up, I was like, I would say a normal kid,
Mhm.
nothing special. Played soccer, did a lot of sports.
You couldn't
Yeah,
convince me otherwise.
you
Look at
know.
this. This guy, nothing about his body type screams, I played soccer. Am I right?
Yeah, and then and then I just never did really any competitions growing up, or I never played in any sports in high school.
Mhm.
I did play with my friends, soccer. People, many people told me, hey, you should join the soccer team, in in school.
Yeah.
But I just didn't for some reason. I don't know, problems I guess with my mom and stuff like that. Just
Mhm.
never really got into it.
Gotcha.
But for some reason, like I was telling you earlier, when it was when COVID finally ended,
Mhm.
I went to the UFC gym
Mhm.
and I walked in there, and for some reason, I think it was just like God's plan, where it's like the gym membership was always expensive. It was like maybe like $180 a month,
Mhm.
And that day they gave us a deal where it's like, okay, if you bring 5 people, we can do like $40 a month,
Mhm.
And pretty much my mom signed up, my brother signed up. Pretty much it was a family package, and I was like, oh, this is so cheap now,
Yeah.
right? So once I went in there, we did all the paperwork, paid, and me and my brother were just gonna go for like lifting weights, because I was a chubby at the time still.
Yeah.
We're just going in there lifting weights, and then I saw on two sides. There's two sides, right? One side was the Muay Thai side, kickboxing, boxing, and then the right side was the Jiu-Jitsu side. Everyone with the gi. I looked at the boxing and I was like, it's same as usual, boxing stuff like that. And then look at the geese and people with the gi, and I was like, yo, that looks cool, And it's something about like the word Brazilian jiu-jitsu is just like that sounds cool,
Yeah.
Boxing is just like it just just don't. I feel like just the word Brazilian jiu-jitsu just sound cool, and it just added something like to someone. I find if someone told me, you do jiu-jitsu, and it's like Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you're like, what is that,
Yeah.
And it just gives it like a little more like defined meaning.
Yeah.
Everyone knows boxing, but then when you say Brazilian jiu-jitsu, you're like, Brazilian, you're like, oh, okay, it's something different. Once I did that, I just fell in love with it, I started doing tournaments, no gi tournaments, and I did really good for my first one. I got second place, no gi for my first tournament.
Mhm.
And it was crazy because like it was my first time ever like being in a competition aspect. Never did any like telling you, never did any sports, and it was just my first time like ever doing any competition. So I went in there and I was like, I just froze for like a second, and then my coach was like, "Go, go, go, my gun!" I was like, "Okay, go." So she started grabbing it, and you know, I did my takedown and stuff like that, and having all the adrenaline and everything, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know how that felt for the first time,
Okay.
Never felt that before, but feeling that for the first time, I was like, dude, this feels like a drug, right?
Yeah.
Where like at the end of my so pretty much when I had that guy down, I was doing a bow and arrow choke,
Mhm.
but I was doing it wrong.
Mhm.
But I was still like, I was still choking the guy where my opponent was like he was tapping.
Yeah.
And I was just like still yanking on it because I didn't know like all the adrenaline and everything. I had never felt it before. I was just like, and the ref was like, stop, stop, stop. And I'm like, still, and I'm like, and then when he gets closer to me, he's like, hey, bro, stop, stop. I was like, oh, shoot, shoot. I'm sorry. I was like, it's like first time I ever doing anything. And that was a big eye opener for me because I was like, bro, I never felt this before, but I love it. And the crazy part was that they're like, I thought I was just like, okay, I won, that's it,
Mhm.
one match, I'm good. And then, 5 minutes later, or like 2, 3 minutes later, you're up again. I was like, I just wasted my whole energy. And then I was like, go in there, I submit the guy too. I do a head and arm choke. And I was like, okay, I'm done now, I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the case in, those tournaments.
Yeah.
They're like, you up again. I'm like, what? And then I feel like the guy that I went up against on my third match,
Yeah.
he looked fresh. And he looked like some guy the guy looked like John Van Damme. I'm being serious. I was like, no way, dude. I'm going against this guy. This guy looks like fresh. And then I go in there. and I lost by 2 points, sadly. But I did really good, for my first one. I was like, dude, I did really, really good for, just like training for maybe like a year or stuff like that. But leading up to that moment, I was always that kid where it's like, I talked all that shit, I was like, yeah, I can fight him. I can knock him out, having no training, it's
I
like,
just got a feeling.
yeah,
I think I can take that dude right now. And they're like, bro, do you train at all? Nope. Doesn't matter. I can take him right now.
Yeah, so that was me, I was the type of guy. And then when confrontation came, I was like, hopefully, in my mind, I was like, hopefully, it doesn't do anything. Hopefully, it doesn't. But like, that's what made me want to get into jiu-jitsu. I want to pretty much back up what I say I do. So if I say I can beat this guy, I want to be able to beat this guy. I don't want to just talk and then just be like, I got my ass whipped.
Do you feel that because you didn't compete the very first time you took second, and obviously now in retrospect, you're able to say like, damn, that's pretty good. And you get props to yourself. But if you go back to that moment, were you like, damn, I should have won? Or did you have any feeling like I need to go back for unfinished business? Because so many fighters start to learn that about themselves where they think, oh, I realize I'm competitive at this.
Yeah.
Is that what happened to you, or did that come over time?
I think it just came over time. Oh, I did know, maybe like say like a couple hours later after I lost, right? I was like, could have won, I could have won. All I had to do was bridge, flip
Certain
more, would
way.
have got that my 2 points, 3 points. But stuff happens, you can't always win them all. But yeah, after that, I was like, I love it, I love the competitiveness. I feel really good, And then it was funny because they have I think it's
IBJJF?
yeah, that one, IBJJF.
Yeah.
They have a 2-day tournament, right?
Yes.
So funny thing was that I did really good, that the first day, and the second day is no gi, right? And I told my mom like, Mama, Ma, I'm doing, I love doing this, can you come support me? So my mom was like, okay, let's go get your brothers, and sister, let's go, right? So then my whole family's there, and I'm doing good, So for pretty much, so what happened was they put me in the first match, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'm not too sure how the bracket worked or how many people were there, but I think it was maybe like 3 people. But pretty much they put me in, right? And I'm doing good. I'm going against this tall guy, and for some reason he just has some spider legs or whatever. That I just do one wrong move, and then he has my whole back, everything as I'm standing up. He has everything, and then in 10 seconds there, I get submitted. And the funny thing was like after I got submitted, they're like, I waited for like 5 minutes. There, I'm like, is that another match or it's like I literally waited for 5 minutes to go like this, and my family was like, is that it? And I was like, I guess so. Nobody nobody told me anything,
Because okay, as a coach now,
Yeah.
all my students look at me like, coach, what's going on? Now, I'm a pretty meticulous planner. So right before the competition goes, I usually make a ski mat.
Okay.
And what I try to do is I go, in theory, I may not be able to go to 2 mats at once. So I can tell the guys, I'm like, the more inexperienced guys will usually get me. Because if you've done it before, you've been here.
Yeah.
So it's fine. I'm just trying to help the guy that when they first go, is like, what's happening?
Yeah, what's going on?
What's happening to me? And I go, no, you're good. You're good. You're fine. Especially if they win. Sometimes winning is almost more stressful than losing.
Yeah.
Stressful is like, okay, well, I won. Did I get a gold? It's like, actually, no, there's 3 more matches. But you're doing great.
Yeah.
So let's concentrate on breathing first, because that's going to be important. And if somebody loses at IBJJF, there is no second chance.
No.
At a lot of other tournaments, it's like a double elimination.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of our guys here, I've specifically tried to take them to double eliminations for their very first tournament experiences, just so that their very first competition experiences, or at least they got something.
Yeah.
Because if you go and you lose, it's the scenario you're talking about where you're like, friends, family, come enjoy this. It's going to be great. That didn't go well.
No, not at all.
And I am now Yeah, for sure. I'm eliminated. So you guys want to get lunch? Like, what's going on here? Because I'm hungry now.
And it was funny because my brother, he's my older brother, he's like the other, like, he likes to talk smack.
Yeah.
And he was like, that was so quick, I would have had him.
Oh
I
no.
was like, dude, and I was like, it's funny because I don't have anything against my brother, but it's just funny, we always just beef like that. I'm like, bro, me and you go against. Not we wouldn't fight.
That's pretty funny.
I know.
Man, what a good 1-2 punch to be like.
Yeah.
I would have had him because I would have done the same thing. I'm like, right now. All right, we're going right now.
Yeah.
And your brother's like, actually, no. Man, what are you supposed to do? If somebody says no, you're like, I didn't really think that far. I kind of stopped dead in my tracks. Yeah, I guess we're not going to roll now.
Yeah.
But you mentioned when your family all came together and they all did it. So there was a multiple group of you. Was it easy to explain to your family that you were falling in love with jiu-jitsu?
I think, it was a lot easier.
Okay.
Especially when I told them, like, hey, come and watch me. They're okay. He's starting to, like, get into this sport because, like I said, growing up, not doing any soccer, not doing anything.
Yeah.
And this was like my first time really, like, telling anyone, like, hey, I'm doing something.
Yep.
I'm doing something. And then they were like, okay, just go out there and support you. And then
that's cool.
Even though I lost, it was just it was a fun experience. Just because, at the end of the day, your brother's gonna roast you, even if you win,
That's
even
true.
if you lose. Your family's gonna be there no matter what.
Can you imagine your brother like sees you win by an armbar? It's like, I would have done it in 20 seconds.
Yeah, he's like that.
Whatever. I guess it's cool for you, but like I would have had him even faster, and it would have been a highlight on IBJJF's Instagram.
100%. That's funny because my little brother's the opposite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's like, so my older brother, he's like, okay, I would I would beat him. Just say I would beat him.
Just silly, yeah.
Yeah. And then my little brother, I would have knocked him out in 20 seconds. Even your last fight, I would have knocked him out, really quick. And I'm like, Junior, you don't train. He's like, oh yeah, I know. Just give me 3 months and I got him. I'm like, just go right now. Let me know.
That was you. What are you talking about? It just runs in the family. No matter what it is, this whole family is just, it's on site.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter how much training I have. I'm going to go out there and do it. Well, okay. A few things make a lot more sense.
Yeah.
What is your nickname that you go by?
I don't know. Like, I've gotten a lot of nicknames,
Well, there's one in particular that you were going by when I was commentating your fight.
Yeah, the Honduran Warrior,
Yeah, okay, so that checks out now. Because to me, I just see you in the cage and I see you have good fights. You win these fights. We've talked before in the cage. That's cool. But when you get the nickname Honduran Warrior, a warrior is going to show up whether they have the readiness or not.
100%.
So that does very well connect for me.
Yeah.
It's just, I live in a world where nicknames, I don't know the genesis of them all the times.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I like look down on the camo sheet or, I do my research and I try to look up all you guys, I'll look over and I go, that's a terrible nickname. I don't want to say any of that. Who would call themselves this? When I saw yours for the Honduran Warrior, I go, okay, yeah, that's a cool nickname. I like that. Especially like you're always repping the flag.
Yeah.
You're always really proud of your heritage. And it connects for me. But now you add the extra element of like, bro, when I was training and I was first on the come up, people would tell me, I'm going to fight you. And I was like, bet, let's go.
Yeah.
And then I come to find even more. It's like, yeah, my brothers are crazy. They don't talk trash, but they're the exact same.
Yeah, they're the exact same.
Is your mom like this too? Is your mom just like, oh, no, hold on?
No, my mom is funny because she's almost like my wife has almost have the same personality in a way, right? Where it's like, she was like, when I started fighting, she was like, if you lose, you'll lose in the cage, but you come home, I'm gonna beat your ass too. I was like,
oh my God.
Oh, okay, I'll win. I'll win. And it's like, she's the type of one where it's like, she was like, oh, if someone's hurting my baby, let me go in the cage and let me, let me punch him too. You know, that's how she is as well.
I do have to watch myself when I go in the cage because occasionally there's a mom that comes in, and even if they're not like physically intimidating, there's a sense of you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
You don't know if they're just going to be like so intense or emotionally all over the place. Because I've seen moms like stand there and they don't do anything, but you could tell they want some attention. So I have to be like, hi, are you the mom? Like,
Yeah.
you're clearly hanging on this dude. I think you're the mom. And she's just like, yes. And I go, do you have anything you want to say to your son or whatever it is? And like, I have been surprised because sometimes they're just like, I just want to say, I love you and I'm so proud of you, baby. And I go, I expect that.
Yeah.
I've seen some parents get up there as well and be like, I told people he was going to do it. And like, they're more hyped than their kid who just won. And I go, ladies and gentlemen, this is your fight, everybody. Like, done.
Funny.
Okay. Like, they're the performer in the family. So that is cool to know. So we normally ask the question, and I know you've seen a few of these interviews, where you fall in love with jiu-jitsu. So you're thinking that tournament was truly where you fell in love with jiu-jitsu.
100%.
Let's backtrack a little bit. Can you describe your very first day, the very first class that you took for specifically just jiu-jitsu?
I don't remember. I probably maybe like only 20% remember, but pretty much. I remember, like I told you earlier, I remember buying the gi. Right, I remember buying the gi, pretty pricey, but I was like, it's worth it. You know, no matter what the price of the gi was, no matter what the price of the classes was, I'm gonna do it. You know, I just fell in love with it the moment I saw it, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna go in there. I can kind of think how it went. I think it probably just, just like a regular, just walked in there, put on the gi, and they just started showing me all these,
Move.
all the moves, This is how you, forward roll, backward roll. I'm like, oh, my neck, everything, You're like, this is different,
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, now you gotta shoot, sprawl. And I'm like,
what does that mean?
What is that? And the funny thing, the first day, like the coach wasn't really like, how can I say it? I think he didn't expect new students. So he was just like, everyone was probably just like a regular at the time. So he was like, everyone, start doing this, and everyone knew how to do it. And I was the only one that was like,
how are you guys doing? What's a forward?
Like, how do I do this? And pretty much, after he saw me doing it wrong, maybe like the 12th time, he's like, "Are you new?" Yeah, I'm new. Like, oh, okay. And then he still kind of was like not putting too much attention.
Yeah.
He was just like, "Okay, just do your thing," But after, I think at that time at that gym, they would switch coaches. So that's when I met Anthony Aguilera from Noah Tellez.
Yes.
So that's when he gave me a lot more attention, and then he showed me everything, and I was like, whoa.
And I've heard Anthony's a great instructor. Yeah, he's a longtime friend.
Yeah, he's really, really good. That's how pretty much my jiu-jitsu, how it is now. And then just for my being with, right now I'm with Gracie Jiu-Jitsu Fullerton with Jake. And then with my coach Tom. Now just adding those little, fine touches, those fine touches. And yeah, and then he was the one that pressured me the most to like, hey, like you've been here for 6 months now, tournament. And I was like,
my God.
And I was like, hopefully he doesn't mention it again, Hopefully he doesn't mention it again. And then after 1 year, he was like 8 or 9 months, he was like, Mike, tournament, maybe like in a month or so, you thinking of doing? I was like,
Anthony's a pusher, bro.
Yeah.
And let me just tell you something about Anthony. So there was like an NABJJF tournament that they always mob out. There's always a ton of Tillis guys. Anthony sees me. Now I go into old person categories. And I show up there. And the sad part about being in old person categories is sometimes they don't have a dance partner for me. So I show up and he's like, yo, Raph, you're doing this. And I go, yeah. And he goes, man, that's awesome. So when do you go? And I go, they don't have anybody for me.
Oh, man.
And he's like, what? And I go, yeah. And he goes, hold on. And then he starts going over and I go, dude, you work here? What do you mean? You're just coaching somebody else. And I swear to you, there's like 2 or 3 or 4 coaches that I know who do that specific tournament who go, hold on. And then they finagle something in behind the scenes. So he comes up to me and he's like, "Do you want to go against one of our guys?" And I was like, "Sure. What's up, man?" And it's like the weirdest thing about being old in jiu-jitsu is they literally bring you another version of you from their gym.
Oh,
They just
okay,
go
I
like,
see.
"This is you somewhere else." And so then you're like shaking
That's
hands and you go like, "What's going on?" And so we have a match. It's good back and forth. And I managed to get like some sweep points on
Mhm.
this dude. But this dude hits a takedown when I'm on my knees. So he's on his
Okay.
knee and goes down.
Yeah.
So there's no points.
Oh.
So they went from being like, "Rap, thank you so much for taking this. What do you mean those were 2 points? That dude didn't do anything." And I'm like, "What are you talking? Like, this is me. Don't say that, dude. Just say Raf. You know me."
Yeah.
Then meanwhile, like, I don't have a coach there. So
Yeah.
I just literally know to shut up and just like walk off the mats. And I literally just sit there as they're talking about me. There's like a high rise behind me. So they're literally reviewing. Imagine my head is here and the video that they're looking at
Oh,
is
okay.
above my head. And I'm just sipping water like, I don't even care. I'll roll against the guy again. We'll do this again. And the dude's just like, "Hey, man, that was a good round." Like, it's just, I go, "Dude, we're competitors."
Yeah.
Like, I beat you this time. We roll again. It would be different, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
It
100%,
wouldn't.
100%.
It wouldn't. But I was definitely of the place where I'm like, we tie, then we got to do an overtime.
100%.
So is what it is, man. So yeah, I love the fact that Anthony, I've heard stories about him where he is doing this. So this is entirely consistent with him being like, "What are you talking about? Oh, come on, go
Yeah.
play. It's great. Get out there." Now I know. I'm like, he's got a pyramid scheme going on with these
Yeah, he
tournaments.
does for
Where
sure.
he's just literally being like, "How much you kicking back? $20 for every person I find? Hey man, get on out there." But in your case, bullseye because it was in you deep inside somewhere.
100%.
So the next question is, why fight? For you, at what point do you decide that you love this so much that you have to do it as more than just a hobby to the extreme that you're actually going to go in there and fight?
So, pretty much, I just started doing my research. I was like, is there any Honduran fighters out there? I was literally just doing. I literally just that just thought up in my head, and I was like, is there any Honduran fighters out there?
Yeah.
And I was like, I searched up, and then not anyone, to be honest. Only one, Teofimo Lopez, boxer. Other than that, there's literally nobody. Like, of course, there's some,
Yeah.
but there's not like, say, like anyone that broke into that, like, that fame. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you need a little bit of fame to get, to be recognized.
You're also speaking from a standpoint of you don't have multiple fighters. Like
Yeah.
even on my side, for Mexicans, I could name multiple Mexican fighters. There's a whole UFC Performance Institute in
100%.
Mexico. So
Yeah.
okay, cool. My origin, my background, they have found their people and they've been highlighted on there. So if you're doing that research and you're like, "Man, I'm struggling to find people who I can look up to, or I have people that I've seen that have done the
Yeah.
pathway and I don't see them," it means maybe I got to carve that path myself.
And yeah, and that's pretty much what after, like, doing all my research, did everything, I was like, I'm gonna do it.
Nice.
I'm gonna do it. And I told my mom, like, "Ma, I need a nickname. I need a nickname. What's a good nickname?" And she was like, first we were talking because we're pretty religious, and we were like, "Oh, what about like what about a phrase in the Bible, like we were talking about, so in Spanish called La Roca de David,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
the David's rock, but that didn't make sense if you pronounce it, and
Like
that doesn't make
Dwayne
sense.
Johnson up there
Yeah,
being like the Rock.
Yeah,
Has
it's
that
like,
been used before?
and then it just didn't sound right. It'd be like Michael David's rock Martinez, like,
Yeah. Doesn't
Ma,
quite work.
doesn't work,
Yeah.
Ma. And I was like, how about Warrior? I just told her, and I was like, what about Honduran Warrior? And then she was like, maybe. And then we just started, like, doing other ones. He's like, and then she was like, yeah, that one sounds right. Honduran Warrior sounds right. And then ever since, I think, after I did, like, started doing the kickboxing matches and stuff like that, just been using the Honduran Warrior. And then another reason on top of that why it's Honduran Warrior was because everyone that was doing, rolling with, they're like, dude, you're a warrior, and then that just kind of stuck with me, everyone's kind of like, everyone's telling me I'm a warrior, I kind of don't feel like it, but you're telling me you're a warrior.
I mean, you rolled really well, man.
Yeah.
You were so kind with my guys. You gave them a lot of time, and it's tough when you bring in somebody new into the fold and they're about to compete. Because really, there's kind of a trust that happens between, say, the guest and the coach, where
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, they're competing, so give them a round.
100%.
Like, don't take it easy on them, but like, don't murder them.
Yeah.
So somewhere in between there, do what you need to do. And I'm not always in charge of what that means to every single person, but I do evaluate it. And I'll be honest, there's a part of me that always says, I'm like, all right, if he's really too intense, I'm going to beat his ass right now. But you were so respectful and so nice. I just knew that because you did bring your wife, there's a part of me that's like, well, we could be here all day. But I knew, I was like, I'm going to break them off. And then you and I, because we had rolled gi, and that was more of a warm-up roll.
Yeah.
But I always like to download everybody's style for the first 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
So when I was working with you, I was kind of like, where does he like to go? And it was cool because you were telling me you sold your gi, so you don't even have a gi anymore, right?
Yeah.
You looked really natural in it though, man. So it is kind of cool that you, even though you haven't trained it a ton recently, the instincts were still there. And I was like looking to see how you played. But I knew, I was like, all right, if you're a fighter, we have to do no-gi rounds. So we do one round. And this is the mark of somebody that I will mess with forever when we're rolling. And I was like, well, 6 minutes went. And you were like, we can keep going. And I go, okay. I'm trying to be respectful of everybody here.
100%.
The problem is, I don't got nowhere to be right now. So we can be here for as long as we need to. There was a moment where I think he was starting to come back up top. And he had swept back up and he was in top position. And it was starting to look like time was running out. And I was like, I don't think he wants to stop now. I think he wants to run this through for as long as he can while he gets to play top position. So
big time.
It tells me a lot about your game, that you're fun, you're doing multiple positions as you're rolling, and that you're not afraid to take opportunities and chances as you go and learn new things in those positions.
Yeah, especially in sparring. I know there's a lot of people that, that try to make it seem like sparring is like a fight.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, there's people in here that, got to work tomorrow. There's doctors, lawyers, every different type of walk of life, right? So it's like, I'm not really there to hurt this guy. I'm just either, depending on if this guy's new, I'm gonna help him,
Yeah.
But I gain nothing from like giving him a 3-piece, knocking him down, maybe breaking his leg. I gain nothing, I gain absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
But what I can gain is like I help this guy, he learned something new.
And what's great is that, I don't bring people here for the striking, because the difference is, on the jiu-jitsu side, I can control how much the pace is going to go. So you'll see me go at 10 miles per hour and you'll realize, like, hey man, it's a choose your own adventure. If you go 50 miles per hour, I'll meet you. I may not be as fast as you, but I'll at least give you a kind of round like that. So I knew as we were going on, I was like, all right, this no-gi round, I can play a little bit more and I can go more to the game that I wanted to go to, and then give you looks that I kind of feel are like, hey, just so we talk, I want this or this, and we can kind of discuss it. And then I love giving away the game plan and being like, here's what I'm going to try and do to you. Like, that's part of the reason why I'm saying. I'm like, I'm going to do this. Try and stop it. Let's see if it happens.
Yeah, it's crazy because like you have really good technique, and like for some reason, like you said, you know how to control like the tempo or the pace of the other opponent, which was me. I was like on top of you, and I'm like, I can't really do anything. I can do some things, but it's just like if I do that, he already I'm trying
this out. Okay, yes, a lot of longtime listeners and my social media guy who's cutting this all know that to be true. What they don't know is this dude's over on the side after he gets a shower, and my student wants to roll for a little while longer, and he's competing, so I'm going to indulge it. And all of a sudden, I just hear over on the side, that's all he does. And I go, I'm so sorry, sir. Are you trying to roast me freshly showered from the sidelines now that I can't beat you up anymore? And I was like, this dude's just lobbing it out there. And I go, okay, I'm going to remember this for the next time we roll. Because now I'm gonna bring out all the even dumber stuff I didn't do today.
Oh yeah, you got me with some really good stuff, and I was just like, I think at a certain point, I was just like,
Well,
yep, again.
what ends up happening is I tell people like this. I feel like when I roll with people, I can be a pair of eyes if I've seen your fights. So it's been a minute, since you've been in the cage. So I didn't necessarily have like a agenda of, oh, I really want to talk to him about this technique, or I think we could fix this. Because every once in a while, somebody, when they come in here, I'm like, hey, I wanted to talk to you about this when you did
Oh,
the
okay.
fight. But a lot of your fights, super exciting. You keep things very thrilling, all that sort of stuff. So for me, it was just a let's play, let's see where he goes. And yeah, so it was really, really fun to me. And I had even told you, I was like, well, I'm going to kind of talk trash to you too. So I feel like you doing that to me from the sidelines is like you talking to your brothers and me going, this is something he's learned from his big brother, because he literally did it where like, oh, I would knock him out, but I don't, I would roll with you, but
oh yeah,
no, I can't. I go, oh, this all checks out. This
because I remember like right after after I told you that, you're like, I told your student for his name,
Autovac, yeah.
I was like, yeah, he submitted me a couple times, but I was just going easy on him, It's like just trying to build his confidence,
Well, the sad part is you're a guest. Now imagine what these guys have to deal with day in and day out. Because if you think any of this is silly and fun, you should see the nonsense I'm doing to them on a daily basis, where they're like, Coach, we hate you. And I think I did the same move to you that I did to a couple of them. I know I hit a pasta crab on them. I hit one on him too. But when I hit it on them, the other students, they looked at me and they go, yo, Coach, that's mean. He's a guest. I was like, he's a fighter.
Yeah.
This is the least of the problems he has that I'm sure he has ever had to endure in a cage.
100%.
So, have you had a favorite fight so far?
I think my favorite fight was the first one.
Okay, why?
Just because I took the fight on 2 weeks notice, and I feel like just because of like the background of my opponent, I did not know anything. My coach knew a little bit more. First, they said he was a blue belt, and I was like, okay, just a blue belt. Until my coach started digging a little bit more into, his background. He was like, oh, he's an alternate for the Olympics, I think it was.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, at first, I was like, oh. And then my coach was like, don't worry about it, just give him the manos. And I was like, oh, okay, So if coach thinks, I can go out there and take him out, I could go out there and do it. Because originally what he wanted was, okay, you want a guy that's just like
Yep.
Debut, probably has regular, wrestling, maybe has some okay hands, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's the play field is leveled,
Okay.
And just like, okay, and then me, I was like, okay, the opponent I have, probably hands are not that great, but his wrestling's really good, That's what gave me like, okay, his wrestling's really good, hands not that good. And I was like, okay. So in my mind, my game plan is, okay, if I hit him like a good solid punch, he's gonna feel that for the first time, I feel like wrestling, you don't really, feel a punch. Probably like someone bumps you on the shoulder or something, or maybe like a headbutt here and there.
Yeah.
But like when you finally get that punch, like, get struck in the head, you're like, oh shoot, I don't want that.
Yeah.
And that's what pretty much happened in the fight. I hit him like a one good clean right punch, and then I saw it in his eyes where he's like, oh, that's something different. I'm not saying I have power, but just like getting punched or getting like clipped for the first time, you're like, this is a way different feeling. And that's when his shots started getting his shots started being a little bit more lazy, a little bit more like sloppier. And that's when I could have capitalized a lot more. That's when if you guys watched my fight, you saw like I had the triangle many times. I think like in the first round, I had like maybe triangle choke, some other choke, and then in the second one, that's when I finally got to him in the triangle choke. Well, it was a fun one, Even Chris Levin was like, dude, this is one of the funnest fight I've repped in a long time. And I was like, dude, that's awesome, Another like ex-UFC fighters saying about my fight like that, I was like, dude, that's awesome. That's when I really started seeing like, man, like all the appreciation from everyone just for my first fight. I can go a long way from this one.
Good for you, man. It's very funny because I forgot to mention this. When we were rolling, there was a moment when you were starting to try to use a triangle setup.
Yeah.
And I immediately jumped back to what I knew about your game. Like it literally, there was no research when you were coming to run, like roll. It wasn't like, oh, I should jog my memory to be careful of this. I was just like, I'm going to go back in cold. And it's been a minute and I have a good memory. But when you were starting, I go, oh, I've seen him do this before. Yeah, under no circumstances is he going to do anything to me there. So I just started getting out of there. But I remembered, I was like, damn. And your legs are strong as hell, dude.
Yeah.
Like your upper body's all right, but like I just remember being like, "Oh, he's really trying to get this triangle. I see what's going on now. All right, I got to get out of this." So totally, yeah, of course, you have an excellent game. Do you think that comes from years of both soccer and then doing the striking with the Muay Thai?
100%, and especially just because of because I was most people don't know, but I used to be fat. I was 200 pounds. But the funny thing was about my body is that I wasn't like fat where you see it like saw all the like stretch marks and all the weight on the side. It was more of like I just had a belly.
Yeah.
200-pound belly. Just like that. And growing up, I would say I got bullied by girls because they always say, "Hey, Michael, you have a big butt," and I was like, I felt like, like, why are you guys saying that, dude? And I was like, growing up in middle school, the girls would be like, Michael, is there something behind you? Like, what are you talking about? Your butt. I was like, dude. I'm like, come on, dude. I was like, it's girls.
Mike, Matt, present some perspective here. Do you think they were flirting with you back then?
I don't know. To be honest, I'm the type of, I guess, growing up, I was just like, I think she's just
the fact that you're this old and like you don't get the fact that maybe they like that and that maybe they're paying you like a weird backhanded compliment. It's like, dude, whatever, you get a big butt. Like, who's looking there? And if they're looking there, maybe they were trying to be like, I'm gonna get his attention right now. And meanwhile, it just went.
Yeah, it went over my head.
Oh, you guys, what? Me? Don't look at me. I gotta go hide. So you literally turned something that was probably playfully being used to hit on you as an excuse and motivation to be like, well, I guess I got to fight now.
100%. I don't know. For some reason,
And
it
it's
was
so funny because everybody else comes into these interviews and like, I got bullied when I was a kid. You're the one that's like, there was a set of mean girls that actually probably had the hots for me. And that's how I started throwing fights because I was like, Heather, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I'm gonna take it on this dude right now. I don't have a big butt. Like,
I know. That's funny.
I think it's very funny how these things work out, but it probably is the right sort of choice and destiny because you've had some killer fights and you're always somebody who, whenever you are in a card, I get excited to watch.
100%.
And the hard part for me is, dude, when we were touch and go in terms of back and forth, and like, hey, I hope we can do an interview. I can't wait for your next fight. It was hard to match you up these past few months.
Yeah.
And then you're taking time off. This is happening here. So for me, I've wanted to see you get back in the cage. Now you had a fight that was scheduled.
Yeah.
So do you care to talk about why that fight didn't happen? Just so that we're clear, because sometimes when people don't know what it is, they start making up things like you're scared,
100%.
you're running from it. And that is clearly not the case from a Martinez family that will take the smoke, even sometimes when they're like, I don't know how to fight, but I'll fight that dude right now.
Yeah.
So what exactly happened, sir?
Yeah, so I had a fight scheduled February 28th. But in the meantime, my wife, she got pregnant like about 6 months ago. And our son was born premature, 28 weeks. So I was like, I'm not too sure, like maybe like 12 weeks, maybe 14 weeks from a normal, full pregnancy term, birth, right? And that was like maybe like 4 weeks before my fight, somewhere around there before that. And I don't know, like I wanted to fight, you know, I couldn't be selfish. I could not be selfish, and I couldn't do that to my wife. Even though she wants me to fight, she's like, "Man, I want you to get in there," and
Well, she's a gamer. She's right
yeah,
over here. And I heard a great story about her being like, you better win.
yeah,
And like, yeah, you better get some blood and you better make them bleed. And I go, oh, honestly, that's a down wife. Like, that's somebody
100%,
who's got your back. And that's pretty cool because not everybody has that. Some people have the
100%,
wives that are like, tell me how it goes. I can't watch. Or they go and they're just a tense of nerves. That's not to
100%.
say that she isn't, but for somebody who's like, hey, if this is really what you got to go do, I support you and I've got your back. So that's a cool place to be. But yes, I think what's important to note is that even though I'm sure in your heart you knew that you're capable of fighting, you want to fight, you have this really big moment that is so intrinsically important to your family. It is more than understandable to take that
Mhm.
time off. For you, though, what was it like initially when this was happening and you do have like all these different stresses? Like, how were you able to just maintain a level of composure when it feels like, man, every day it's something new that you're probably having to battle? But at the same time, you also wanted to be this professional fighter in the future.
So, I told you, I'm a big believer, in God and
Mhm.
Jesus Christ, and every day I pray. I always ask Him for wisdom, because without wisdom, I don't know where I'm gonna get all my information. So I
Mhm.
always ask Him for wisdom, and then another big part or another big person that helps me out is my coach.
Mhm.
He's someone I really look up to. He sometimes gives me like fatherly advice. Sometimes I look at him like a father figure, bro figure, and then just whatever else, and then my wife at the same time. And then when everything started happening,
Mhm.
I was like, I prayed, and then I talked to my wife, and then she was like, "Okay, I want you to fight," you
Mhm.
know, and I feel like because growing up, my dad was never around.
Mhm.
He was never around. He done some stuff to my mom, cheat on her, stuff like that, and it kind of broke that like bondage between us for some reason. Even though he said he loved us, but he was never really there, like he said he did, and I don't want that. I don't want to be like my dad. Like
Mhm.
I don't want to be like, okay, I love my son, but fighting is more important. I didn't want to be like that. Even though my wife told me, hey, I want you to fight. I've been waiting for you to fight because like, I want you to go in there. I just had to be a man. I had to be a wise, I had to be a wise man and
Yeah.
be like, no, even though you want me to, I have to be here for you. And then, telling my coach like, bro, he was like, bro, you don't even got a man. You don't even, you go there and take care of your family, and whatever info you do get back, that if you can't fight, you can't fight.
Yeah.
Live to another live. Um, you're young. You can fight another day.
Yeah. And I mean, for your particular case, obviously you want to fight, but permission to fight isn't necessarily always the right choice. And I
Yeah,
feel like what you're doing is you're saying, this is so important to me. I can't bypass this as well.
100%.
But deep in your heart, you're going to fight again.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, when.
And maybe this isn't the right time. But again, incredible support to have somebody who's like, what are we doing? Like, you should go fight.
Yeah,
It's a difficult place to be in. What I can tell you though is take the positives from it, which are that's good. I do feel like these challenges that people have in their lives, I'm sure they bring you guys closer together.
big time.
And that's actually what I think was the nicest part of it today was obviously you coming to roll, but your wife coming as well and hanging out with us and being a part of this. It shows me a connection that I would like to think my wife and I would be in a similar situation where it'd be like, you're a team. Like it's
Yeah,
you guys against the world, and you guys are making sure that you're going to be there for each other, and it forms an incredible bond whenever you're put through anything that is like this. But you did mention faith, and the weird part to me is there are some people who aren't necessarily religious. I'm not super religious, but I do see how that has brought not only structure in your life, but some form of clarity during tough times. And I'm
yeah,
really glad that you've had that to connect with and to do. I do want to know for you, as this has been happening, I feel like sometimes it also reveals like who is truly important in your lives or who's really on team you and you. Who has shown up for you aside from even your coach? Like, have you been surprised by the outpouring of love that you guys have gotten?
Yeah. Um, a lot of a lot of love. Like I'm a big believer, and I know when you ask for love, God's love,
Mhm.
He uses other people.
Mhm.
So there's like people that I don't even know. Like, hey, if you need anything, I'm here.
Yeah,
There's a bunch of people like, hey, do you want me to go walk your dog? Because I have a
that's
dog. They're
cool.
like, I'm like, I don't like, even though I want to use your help. I just can't just because my dog, she's aggressive, she's gonna bite you, bro.
You're like, dude, I don't need another thing going on right now. If my dog bites you,
You're
that's on
done.
you. I can't even. I tried to tell you, but
Yeah.
thank you. It's appreciated.
But yeah, stuff like that, right? And then people also were donating, giving us money when like I didn't even ask, but it's what God saw what I needed,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you're missing out from work, we can't I can't ask for any more days off.
yeah.
But people donating, helping me out, people that I don't even know, they're like, here's $10 for like a coffee. Here's like $20 for like a meal or two,
Yeah,
here, give this for your, wife. She's super stressed,
yeah.
I saw that and I was like, man, how beautiful is God's love, using other people to share it. And I don't know, it's just amazing.
That's cool. I have felt that in the past, if you go through any sort of, let's say, like troubling time or hardship or anything like that, my biggest way to compare it is through grief. So, what I have found with people who have gone through, say, a passing,
Hmm.
there's always a politeness of, what do I do? And if you ask the person, they're more than likely just say no.
Yeah.
And so, having gone through some losses in my life, I just learned at a certain point, you're not going to fight somebody if they're trying to do something nice for you.
Hmm.
So you literally just learn to say, that's how they're trying to help. And sometimes people don't even know how they're trying to help. They're just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Let me try to
Yeah.
help. And so when I see other people now going through different stages of struggle or grief or something happened to their family or them or any kind of loss, I just tell somebody, I'm like, hey, if you made a pie or something, like take it to them. If you want to give them cash, give it to them
Yeah.
and let them tell you what is acceptable or not. But in a lot of cases, especially like in different cultures, if you bring somebody food, it's like the thing they're not thinking about
Mm.
when they're like going through a stage of someone passed in their family. They're still busy with work, whatever, whatever. I would see people who are neighbors who would stop over and be like, "We brought you like a food basket,
Yeah.
or we brought you like a dinner or something." And I go, "What's going to go bad?" All right, you and this one neighbor. But retrospectively, you can look at it and say, wow, they did care. And I feel like that has been a unique place because I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
pouring of love. I've seen a lot of stuffed animals and like cute things that they've sent you guys. And
Yeah.
that has
Isn't
been
it? Yeah.
so good. And what I've noticed is there's been a chart of progress that you've kind of continued to put
Yeah. I
up
always
on a
post
daily
on.
thing. And it's just like, dude, every time I see that progress, I'm just rooting for
Yeah.
you guys. And it's so heartwarming and it's so great because you're just seeing it. It's like, yeah, we're all pulling for you
Yeah.
guys.
And it's crazy because like everyone just like, every day or every so often they're like, oh, I'm praying for you guys. I'm praying for Alejandro. I'm doing something,
Yeah.
And people always like, hey, I can't give you money, but I can pray, That's all I ask, That's all I ask. I was
Huge credit
yeah,
for you, man.
yeah,
That's huge. And like I said, it's like if I recognize that I'm not super religious, I do tell people I'm like, you guys are in our thoughts. And it's like I've even talked with my wife and shown her. I've been like, hey man, Alejandro's coming through today. It's really cool. It looked like he was able to do this or that
mhm,
today. And you don't know the ripple effects these things do have. So that is probably why it's surprising when you get people who have spoken up to you. Has anybody in the fight community or any like weird moments where even like a opponent or somebody's reached out to you or
yeah,
anything like
yeah,
that?
yeah. That's actually funny. Like 2 days ago, the opponent I was gonna fight, David Matos, he actually texted me and was like, "Hey, man, heard you pulled out because of your son. I hope
Mm,
he's doing really good and God bless." And I was like, "Oh man, that's
dude,
so amazing," even I feel like as I mean, as men, we and as fighters, we always think, you gotta hate the opponent. You really don't,
No.
There's no really. I have no hate against the guy I'm gonna fight.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I do want to go in there and punch him. Just because that's how the sport is. Go out there and try to win.
No.
But then at the end of the day, if I can, once we fight and go and we can go share an ice cream, I'm gonna go share an ice cream with that guy.
That's
Because
awesome, man.
I love everyone. I know it's hard for like some people to say that, but me personally, just being closer to God and just growing in my faith, dude. I love it. I love everyone. I love all my opponents. I've I've gotten to the point where like I've broken all that, like everyone that has done me wrong, you know, talk bad about me, whatever. I've forgiven them, and it shows that like even people like that were talking bad about me in my last fight, they've I would say I'm closer to them. I can consider them as friends now,
Interesting.
which is something that God has revealed to me. I'm like,
Hmm.
God, you work in mysterious ways, man. This guy was like talking bad about my mom and this and that,
Oh wow.
and now he's saying like, hey, your son is gonna be good. It's gonna be strong just like his dad, and I was like, man, that's amazing, this guy that hates me, oh, once hated me, or something, had something against me or my family, now he's saying, like, bless me, and
That's
I was like, dude, that's crazy.
that is not only crazy, but sometimes it's wild that you have to have these moments that trigger that for the
Mhm.
other person. But I would much rather them be on this side than, being like, yo, I got some thoughts on your mom's. Like,
Yeah,
to me, that's the weirdest part of the fight game is sometimes the escalation, people don't know where to stop. But it's like, you stop at family, dude.
yeah.
You just don't bring up any of my family. You can say whatever you want about my idiotness or whatever. But, there was some weird online troll who I think took one of my wedding photos and put me out
Oh,
of it
really?
and like, they were just trying to be rude and make a weird thing, and they put it with my wife and this person, and I just remembered thinking like, how mangled in the brain are you
Mhm.
that you would do this, not even to me, like, say what you want to me, but
Yeah,
why are you doing this with my wife, and also why are you looking up us?
yeah.
Like, I tend to be a person where I'm like, if I don't like you, I try to end it online and be like, all right, well, you don't get any more of my thoughts.
100%, 100%.
But if I roast people, it's because I do truly appreciate them and love them. So yeah, when I see fighters doing that, it does come off as a turnoff a lot of times.
Big time.
But I do find it an interesting place. And you mentioned it a little bit earlier, just when we were off. You were saying how you got baptized recently. When was that?
Yeah, so I think I got baptized maybe like in June, July
Okay.
of last year, or yeah, last year.
And then you said that brought new clarity to you.
Yeah,
What was the new clarity that it brought to you after getting baptized?
like it was just a release of everything. To be honest,
Mm.
always it brought me where it's like my mindset changed. Where it's like if you did have like say because I want to be the first Honduran world champion. It's
Yeah.
like if you did have it, what else do you want? And I was like, I would have everything, not everything I wanted, but I got it. What's there left,
Mm.
and that was no satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I don't think that's what I want,
Hmm.
and then I was just asking God for wisdom, and then he just opened my eyes where it's like, okay, I want a family,
Mm.
I want a wife that's gonna take care of me, that's gonna, put put bandages over my scars, over my blood, my cuts everywhere.
Yeah.
And I just want an amazing life.
Yeah.
And I know if I just trust in God's plan, I don't have to worry about anything. You know, if He has it destined for me to be the first Honduran world champion, cool. But no matter what, I'm gonna help that one person who wants to be the first Honduran world champion. Doesn't matter if I become it or someone else becomes it, that person that becomes it, I'm going to help that person no matter what. even if my last fight, not even when Diego had his Diego Sanchez had his upcoming fight, I told the people that were promoting me that do you remember when I was doing when the Cal Pierce fight, I had that restaurant signing?
Yes.
Yeah. So those people, I texted them, be like, hey, this guy, championship fight coming up,
That's cool.
let's help him.
Yeah.
That's another person that's that's on the come up.
Yeah.
If I can't make it, this guy's gonna make it.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to to help everyone. If I can, I always tell my homies, if I make it, you guys are gonna make it.
Yeah.
If I become a millionaire, billionaire, you guys are gonna become that too with me.
And that's, I believe, something that we share. Is we were talking off air about this as well, where I just said, listen, my goal from day one has to get a jiu-jitsu program of just talking about jiu-jitsu on a sports network.
Mhm.
It's going to happen. We're kind of a boring sport sometimes. We have some knuckleheads who are at the top of the sport who don't say smart things. But I believe in my heart, I have laid a good foundation so that even if it's not me, whoever is the first
Yeah.
will be there doing thanks to my efforts, to my friend Paul Moran's efforts, to a lot of us who were there first, even my buddy Tim Freeman, who I work with a lot. Like, there's a lot of us who were those first and who are a lot of major athletes' first major interviews. So I feel pretty secure in my place.
Yeah.
But, when you're young, it's really important to have ambitious goals. And I think you stumbled upon something that's really important, which is goals change as you get older.
Big
And
time.
things get presented to you, challenges happen, new perspective happens. And you coming to terms with that and saying things are going to change doesn't mean that you still can't be it,
Yeah.
but that you have other priorities now means that sometimes you get to another top of the hill. Maybe it wasn't the hill you thought it was going to be, but you can see things in a different light, and you can see what it's like to go up, and you can see what it's like from where you've been and those who are going to come up with you because you've carved a path. So I feel like in your own way, you have done a contribution to it, that now the security of it is, okay, cool. There's going to be new challenges. And if we don't, we're going to come up together. So
Yeah.
that's a really cool place to be. And I do share that with you. So I feel a connection on that.
Yeah, and especially because God's plans are higher than my plans.
Mhm.
Because sometimes, say if I do become that, I do become the first Honduran World Champion, and I'm not satisfied, right?
Yep.
But God sees that, right? He's like he's not satisfied. But what happens if I help that one person, become the world champion,
Yep.
the first Honduran World Champion, and my satisfaction is like, yes, there's finally one,
Yeah.
God sees that, he's like,
Yeah.
okay, he's satisfied
Yeah.
right there,
Yep.
So there's, like I said, God's plan is perfect. So no, if it's for me, it's for me.
Yeah.
If it ain't, he's gonna figure it out.
Yeah. That's a great perspective. Well, Mike, you were so kind to come up and share your story. And, it was so wild to me. Part of the reason why you don't see the full setup is that we had always talked about doing an interview. And I was so happy to do the training with you. I didn't know if you wanted to do one. I wanted to, of course, offer it. But what was more important for me today was, given what you have had, I just wanted you to have a good day of training. Like, no matter what, I was like, I want you to just have fun. I'm going to talk trash to you, make you feel at home. And I want you to, for just a few hours here, just enjoy what it is that me and my idiots can afford you here. That feels hopefully not too dissimilar from what you have at your gym. So that way you get a little bit of a release. And I was very appreciative when you said, like, I do want to talk, because at a time like this, you don't have to, and you're within your rights to stay private, keep it within your family. But the fact that you wanted to actually do the interview with me is truly something that I appreciate, and that you were cataloging this moment in your life and saying, like, hey, just in case you want to forget or you don't remember, soon you'll be back.
Yeah.
But you're going to handle your stuff first with your family. And I don't think any person here would beseech you for that. I think they'd say, like, that's what you need to do. I think the real key is that You just continue to get your training in when you can,
100%.
wherever you can. And all I know is from the sound of it, it sounds like part of the reason, I'm just guessing here, your wife might have been like, I need you to get in there and fight, because she might be like, yo, if I can't get in there and fight, I need you to get in there and beat somebody's ass. Because right now, I want to beat somebody's ass. My wife would 100% tell me to be like, yo, I want you to go kick their ass right now. And be like, babe, that's not how this works. I don't just pick on people to go beat their ass. And she's like, what if they did something? And I was like, well, then we're going to talk.
That's funny. Because she actually was like, okay, so when are you going to fight now? I was like, well, our son is going to come at, April.
Yeah.
God willing, he comes in April.
Mhm.
We can take him home pretty much, right? And then be there for 3 months. Because then after 3 months, he can kind of start going out, I can be with me at the gym, or someone could be with me at the gym, so I can watch him and, training, something like that. And then I was like, okay. But within that time, I'm still going to be getting, maybe like 3 workouts in or something, And then we want to, I say we, right? We want to get back into it, get into fighting sometime September, October.
Okay. That seems a reasonable timeline. And of course, things may come up, things may be sped up. Who knows?
Yeah.
Opportunities come all the random time.
Big time.
But what's really important is, you do what feels right for you and your family. And just know the whole community is going to be, I'm quite certain, happy to see you back out there and doing what you do best, because you gave great highlights, great fights, always entertaining to watch you. And I hope I get to be the one who commentates the fight, because I'll definitely be able to put a lot more context to it than I think some other people might be able to. And having learned a little bit of your game today, there's a part of your jiu-jitsu side that I learned so much more about that I couldn't have known just watching your fights.
Yeah, and especially now, like I said, my mindset changed so much that now it's like I've been just going for the finish. I've been going for the finish anywhere that any like opportunity that I see.
I know.
I'm gonna go for it. So that's what's funny. I was talking to my coach, like, your coach, like right now, just it's the different mindset. Just any position I get, or any chance I get, I'm going for the finish.
I don't blame you. I tell people all the time, I'm like, if we're going to compete somewhere, I'm like, bro, we're trying to go home early.
Yeah.
Like, if you're fighting, I'm like, when some of the guys go, man, I really wish I could have shown my great striking. And I was like, you submitted the dude in 20 seconds and everybody could go eat sooner.
Yeah, 100%.
Nobody is complaining. They're like, yeah, but my hands. And I'm like, yeah, but my stomach. I'm hungry. I don't care. You won.
It's funny.
We could talk about it next
It's funny because, like, I feel like, so my friends, they're like, yo, Mike, you gonna fight? And my friends are the type of homies that are like, okay, if he doesn't fight the next round, I'm dipping. That's how they are. That's how they are. I know them. And it's like, and it's funny because I know how they are. So I'm like, I know I'm on the 8th fight. They came at 6. And it's barely the first fight. Mine's going to be like maybe somewhere between like maybe 9 and 10.
Oh my God.
And I was like, okay, so when they first sent me the message, I'm going to be like, I'm up in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And, so they sent me the first message and I'm like, I'm up in 30 minutes. Like, okay, cool. He's like, Mike, he's like, has 30 minutes.
Let's bring this to everybody's attention. Don't text the fighters day of fight. Never do that. Literally leave them alone. Don't ask for tickets the day before. They've been promoting it way longer than this. Find money. Ask your friend for some money. Ask a friend to buy it and you'll Venmo them back. Just don't talk to the fighter the day of or the day before, because they've had to make weight. They're grumpy. They're not thinking right. They need to be more dialed in than trying to do logistics of like, wait, does Ernie have a ticket?
Yeah, they're like that too.
Ernie, what time am I? I don't know, bro. Look it up. Why don't you look it up? Type in the word, figure it out. I'm trying to like kick.
Or like, it's funny. Look at your ticket.
Don't get me started. Yeah,
look at your ticket, bro.
Don't get me started, because there's so many times where even when I don't get a call time, I'll look at the ticket and I go, if they don't give me a call time, I'm going 30 minutes after doors open. But it is what it is. Well, Mike, here's what I want to do. I want to give that camera to you. Feel free to shout out friends, family members, anybody who has been helpful to you, anybody that you want to give just some props to or some shout outs. That camera is all yours, sir.
So I want to give the glory to God, first of all. Without him, I can't do any of this, Secondly, I want to give a shout out to my wife. She's amazing. Even though I want to fight, I have to be there for her. And even if she still tells me, "Yo, go fight," even if I'm if she says, even if I'm still in the hospital, go fight. Amazing. She puts my career over hers, and I'm gonna be there for her no matter what. And the third person is my coach. I get a lot of wisdom from him, and even when I'm like, the coach, even though I pulled out, 2 weeks ago, can we get a fight for Spar Star? And I was like, no, he puts me back on track.
Yeah.
He's like, no, bro, focus on your family. Once everything's set, just go from there. And then everyone else, thank you everyone that's been sending us message, praying for Alejandro. He's gonna come home pretty soon, and just taking it day by day, all thanks to God. And then everyone else that's just been sending me a message here and there, how I'm doing, calling me, and then yeah.
That's good
Thank
stuff,
you.
dude. Well, thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for coming on the show finally. I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
Yeah.
And like I said, even though everything kind of changed a little bit in the time since, I still wanted you to feel as welcomed as the team would have welcomed you about months ago if you had dropped in. But here's the only thing I'm going to say now. Now you got to come back.
Yeah.
Because, my man, you can't just be throwing jokes over on the side and think that you're not getting these metaphorical hand in grappling the next time again. Because I was like, oh no, it's noted. Next time I will use worse moves and get all the dumber stuff I didn't do because I was being friendly today. So I hope you're going to come back.
Yes, sir. I'll be back.
Most definitely. All right. So look, normally this is the time when I do all the plugs. You already heard the plugs up top. I would much rather tell you guys they do have a GoFundMe. Now, listen, you are not obliged to do any of that, but if you can, and it's always nice, it would be great. Check it out. Where can they find the GoFundMe?
It's just on my Instagram. That's all.
It's on his Instagram. If you're able to do it, it does help out. Again, the whole purpose of today was just so you guys could get a better understanding of a fighter and what their journey is. But a lot of you watching are probably friends and family members, and maybe you've already done it or you just forgot to. But every little bit helps, and it is truly appreciated because I'll tell you this much. When you start going through those moments and you get that outpouring of love, it is overwhelming at times, but having seen it happen to a lot of people, I know how much they appreciate it. So I just wanted to say that. And, you guys can buy a t-shirt in like a month or two. So you can find Grappling Hour and all that stuff. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching this very special episode. I hope you are enjoying your day. It has been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.